Ever walk through a mall, scroll endlessly online, or even just glance at the ads popping up on your feed? It probably feels like, well, a lot of stuff is being marketed towards women. Shoes, makeup, clothes, maybe even yogurt? It seems pretty straightforward, right? Companies make things, women buy things. But what if I told you that behind this everyday reality lies a hidden economic powerhouse? A complex web of motivations, pressures, and trends that doesn't just shape shopping habits, but actively steers entire industries, influences global markets, and holds trillions of dollars in its sway. Forget the stereotypes. Today, we're diving deep into the real economics of female consumer behavior. And trust me, it's way more fascinating and, frankly, more important than you might think. All right, let's start with the sheer scale of it all. Forget thinking of women as just a consumer group. Think bigger, much bigger. Globally, women drive somewhere between 70 to 80% of all consumer purchasing decisions. Yeah, you heard that right. That figure might sound staggering, almost unbelievable, but study after study points toward this dominant influence, and it's crucial to understand what this number really represents. It's not just about women buying things for themselves, although that's certainly part of it. We're talking about the cumulative power over household spending. Think about the weekly grocery shop. Who typically plans the meals, makes the list, and selects the brands? Think about decisions regarding children's clothing, school supplies, or healthcare appointments. Think about larger purchases, where to go on vacation, which new sofa fits the living room, or even which car has the right combination of safety, practicality, and budget friendliness for the family. Often, even if a woman isn't the one physically tapping the payment card or clicking buy now, her input, research, preferences, and sometimes outright veto power are the deciding factors. She might be the one who spent hours comparing energy efficiency ratings for a new washing machine, or researched pediatricians, or flagged a potential issue with a planned purchase. This influential role makes women the gatekeepers for a vast majority of the money flowing through the consumer economy. Industries ignore this reality at their peril. So, we've established the what, this enormous, almost 80% share of economic influence. But the really interesting part, the part that often gets overlooked or simplified, is the why and the how. Why do spending patterns look the way they do? How are these decisions actually made? This is where we need to peel back the layers and move beyond the tired, outdated stereotypes that marketing clung to for far too long. You know the cliches, the idea that women are purely emotional shoppers, easily swayed by a bright pink label or a half-price sale, obsessed only with fashion and cosmetics. And sure, you can still find marketing that leans heavily on these tropes, sometimes embarrassingly so, but reducing such a massive economic force to simplistic stereotypes is not only inaccurate, it's just bad business. The reality is far more nuanced. Let's start by grounding this in some fundamental economic realities. One major factor that profoundly shapes female consumer behavior is income and wealth. Despite decades of progress and conversation, the gender pay gap remains a stubborn global reality. Across most countries and industries, women, on average, continue to earn less than men for performing similar work. When you consistently have less disposable income or anticipate earning less over your lifetime, your approach to spending naturally shifts. This often translates into women becoming more discerning consumers. They might dedicate more time to researching products, comparing prices across different retailers, and looking for genuine value for money rather than just the lowest price tag. There might be a greater emphasis on durability, longevity, and multi-functionality in products, because the cost and hassle of frequent replacement are more significant concerns. Think about buying a slightly more expensive but much better made winter coat that will last 5 seasons instead of 1, or choosing kitchen appliances known for reliability over flashy features. This focus on value can also foster greater brand loyalty. Once a company proves it offers consistent quality and fair pricing, trust becomes a valuable currency. But it's not just about the overall amount of money earned. It's also about how that money is frequently managed and allocated within a household. Particularly in families with children, women often take on the role of the household's chief financial officer, even if informally. They are the ones juggling the budget, ensuring the mortgage or rent is paid, the fridge is stocked, the kids have shoes that fit, and the utility bills are covered. This responsibility of managing resources for multiple people, often on a tight budget, compounded by that potential pay gap, cultivates a specific consumer mindset. It's a mindset that tends to be highly pragmatic, focused on meeting the collective needs of the household, and incredibly adept at stretching resources. Purchases aren't just evaluated based on personal desire, but on how they fit into the larger financial picture and serve the family unit. Does this purchase solve a real problem? Will it last? Is it worth the cost relative to other pressing needs? This constant calculation and prioritization is a core element of the economic behavior for millions of women. Now, let's add another critical layer: time poverty. This concept refers to the chronic shortage of discretionary time experienced by individuals, and research consistently shows that women bear the brunt of this. Even when working full-time jobs, women globally tend to shoulder a significantly larger share of unpaid labor compared to men. This includes childcare, cooking, cleaning, laundry, organizing schedules, caring for sick family members, and often managing the mental load of keeping the household running smoothly. The result? Less free time, significantly less. When your time is incredibly scarce and valuable, convenience transforms from a nice-to-have into a crucial commodity. Suddenly, products and services that save time and reduce mental effort become incredibly attractive, even if they come at a slight price premium. Think about the explosive growth of meal kit delivery services that eliminate the need for meal planning and grocery shopping. Consider the popularity of pre-chopped vegetables, ready-made sauces, or even robotic vacuum cleaners. Look at the rise of online grocery delivery, click and collect services that let you bypass wandering the aisles, subscription services that automate recurring purchases like diapers or coffee, and apps that help manage schedules or finances. These aren't just lazy shortcuts. For many time-poor women, they are essential tools for survival, allowing them to juggle work, family, and personal needs. This time scarcity also dictates where and how women shop. They might favor retailers that offer a wide variety of goods under one roof, the classic one-stop shop, to avoid multiple trips. They heavily rely on efficient online platforms with user-friendly interfaces and reliable delivery. They appreciate brands that simplify the decision-making process through clear information, easy comparisons, or trusted recommendation. Anything that shaves off minutes or reduces decision fatigue holds immense appeal. So we have the economic pressures of potentially lower income and the constant demands of managing household budgets, combined with the chronic lack of time due to unpaid labor. But there's still more to the picture. We also need to consider the impact of societal expectations. Historically, and often still today, society places a greater emphasis on a woman's physical appearance compared to a man. There are often stronger pressures related to grooming, fashion, and maintaining a certain aesthetic. This translates directly and undeniably into consumer spending. Significant portions of consumer markets are built around products and services catering to these expectations. Cosmetics, skincare, hair care, anti-aging treatments, hair removal, and of course the vast fashion industry. While personal enjoyment and self-expression are definitely factors, for many women, participating in this level of appearance upkeep feels less like a choice and more like a social or even professional necessity. The pressure to look presentable or put together can feel constant and non-negotiable, creating a baseline level of spending in these categories that might not exist or exist to a much lesser degree for their male counterparts. And this ties directly into a phenomenon often called the pink tax. It's crucial to understand this isn't an actual government tax. Instead, it's a term describing the pervasive practice of gender-based price discrimination, where products and services marketed specifically towards women are priced higher than nearly identical, or sometimes completely identical, versions marketed towards men. The examples are numerous and often infuriating. Think about disposable razors. The pink or pastel ones often cost more per blade than the blue or black ones, despite performing the same function. Deodorant, shampoo, body wash. Check the unit prices next time you're in the aisle. Clothing basics like plain t-shirts can sometimes show price discrepancies. Even services like haircuts or dry cleaning frequently cost more for women. A simple trim might be priced higher, and laundering a woman's blouse almost always costs more than laundering a man's button-down shirt, even if they involve similar work. Sometimes this extends even to children's toys, a pink scooter costing more than its blue equivalent. Individually, these price differences might seem small, maybe $1 here, 50 cents there, but accumulated over a lifetime of purchasing everyday items, the pink tax represents a significant financial burden. It's another hidden economic pressure that women face, effectively reducing their purchasing power compared to men, even before considering the wage gap. It forces women to be even more vigilant consumers, constantly questioning if they're paying a premium simply for gendered marketing. It might push them towards seeking out unisex products, buying the men's version when feasible, or specifically supporting brands perceived as offering fairer, gender-neutral pricing. Traditional advertising often relied heavily on creating aspiration, showing an idealized version of life attainable through the product, or on identifying, and sometimes manufacturing, a problem that the product could solve. Think of early advertisements focusing heavily on making women better wives, more efficient homemakers, or more attractive potential partners. While echoes of this certainly remain, the marketing strategies that resonate most strongly with women today often tap into different, deeper motivations. One powerful shift is the emphasis on community and connection. Successful brands increasingly understand that women often value relationships, shared experiences, and belonging. They foster this by creating online forums where users can share tips and support each other, building social media groups centered around common interests related to the product, encouraging user-generated content like reviews and tutorials, and building brand loyalty through shared values and a sense of collective identity. Think about fitness apparel brands that cultivate online workout communities, beauty brands that create spaces for users to swap makeup looks and skincare routines, or even food brands that host recipe sharing platforms. It's about selling not just a product, but membership in a tribe. Alongside community, authenticity and trust have become absolutely paramount. The rise of social media, blogs, and influencer culture has fundamentally shifted the landscape of persuasion. Many women, particularly younger generations, place far greater trust in recommendations from peers, relatable online personalities they follow, or independent experts than they do in glossy, top-down corporate advertising campaigns. They actively seek out reviews, watch haul videos, read detailed blog posts, and engage in conversations before making a purchase. Of course, the influencer space itself is complex, with the line between genuine recommendation and sponsored content often becoming blurred, but the underlying desire for authenticity, for honest opinions from real people, remains a powerful force. Brands that are perceived as transparent about their practices, honest in their marketing, responsive to customer feedback, and willing to show the less than perfect reality tend to build stronger, more lasting relationships with female consumers. Conversely, brands caught being deceptive or inauthentic can face swift backlash. Furthermore, we're seeing a significant rise in values-based purchasing. Increasingly, women are consciously using their substantial purchasing power as a form of activism and expression of their personal values. This means actively choosing to support brands that align with what matters to them. It could involve prioritizing products that are sustainably sourced and ethically produced, making an effort to buy from businesses owned by women or underrepresented minorities, favoring companies with strong environmental track records, or boycotting those with questionable labor practices. Many women indicate they are willing to pay a slightly higher price or go to a bit more effort to support brands they believe are making a positive impact on the world. This trend forces companies to think beyond just the product itself. They need to consider their entire supply chain, their corporate social responsibility initiatives, their company culture, and how they communicate these aspects to consumers. And even as these marketing dynamics evolve, the very ground beneath our feet is shifting due to major demographic and economic changes. These shifts are further reshaping female consumer behavior in profound ways. One of the most significant transformations is the steady rise of female breadwinners. In many developed and developing economies, a growing percentage of women are now the primary earners in their households, or are out-earning their male partners. This marks a monumental shift in economic power within families and society. With greater financial autonomy comes a change in spending patterns and priorities. We see potential for increased spending on long-term investments and financial planning, driving demand for financial services that are specifically tailored to women's unique needs. Acknowledging factors like longer average lifespans, potential career breaks for caregiving, and differing risk tolerance profiles. For years, the financial services industry was notoriously male-centric, often perceived as patronizing or dismissive towards female clients. Now, recognizing the sheer volume of wealth being controlled and generated by women, firms are slowly starting to adapt, offering more targeted advice, investment products, and educational resources, though many argue this adaptation is still far too slow. Higher earning power also translates to greater confidence and authority in making big-ticket purchase decisions. Women may be more likely to drive decisions on home renovations, major appliance upgrades, or vehicle purchases based on their own preferences and research, rather than deferring. There's also often a greater capacity and willingness to invest in personal development, continuing education, and experiences like travel, which contribute to personal growth and well-being. This ties into another broad trend impacting consumer behavior generally, but with specific resonance for women: the move towards spending on experiences rather than solely on material goods. While acquiring possessions is still important, there's a growing emphasis on accumulating experiences that provide enrichment, connection, and memories. For women, this often intersects strongly with themes of wellness, self-care, and personal growth, perhaps reflecting a response to the pressures of time poverty and societal expectations we discussed earlier. Think about the growth in industries related to fitness classes, yoga studios, meditation apps, wellness retreats, workshops focused on skills or hobbies, travel centered around cultural immersion or nature, and dining experiences that offer unique ambiance or cuisine. This reflects a deeper desire for holistic well-being, stress reduction, connection with others, and self-improvement, moving beyond the simple accumulation of more stuff. So, where does this leave us? What we see is that female consumer behavior isn't a simple, monolithic block. It's a dynamic, intricate, and incredibly powerful economic force shaped by a confluence of factors. Persistent economic realities like the pay gap and time poverty, deeply ingrained societal expectations, evolving marketing strategies that focus on community and values, and major demographic shifts like the rise of female breadwinners. Understanding the hidden economics of female consumer behavior is not just about marketers figuring out how to sell more moisturizer or minivans. It's about recognizing a fundamental driver of the global economy. Women's choices ripple outward, influencing product innovation, service design, marketing ethics, corporate social responsibility, and even the structure of industries from finance to automotive to healthcare. As we look ahead, this influence is only likely to grow and continue evolving. Younger generations of women, digital natives who grew up with unprecedented access to information and peer reviews, will have different expectations around authenticity, sustainability, and brand engagement. Aging populations in many countries will mean older women, with potentially different health, lifestyle, and financial needs, will represent an increasingly significant consumer segment.